Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Citizen Sleeper. And in the last episode, guys, we started the Purge DLC, and it kicked off with some tension right off the bat. We had a very on-edge meeting between Helene from Haven Age and Sol from the Refugee Flotilla, and everything was cautious until another Haven Age executive who was part of the Hardliners showed up and basically said that all of the evidence that we sent to both Helene and Sol just proves their point that the flotilla is dangerous. So politics are being played just like in real life, and we had a choice on what we just wanted to do. Sol is basically going to get the flotilla navy set up, and they're going to go ahead and get out of here. But we have decided to ride or die with the Eye, and we're going to try our best to make sure the station doesn't suffer the same fate as all of those colonies have as well. So right now, all we have is, in terms of our drives, is getting the Pilgrim Seed ready for them to go. We do want to help out our friends, but we do have some bad news to break to Peake, so let's go ahead and do it. As you enter the climbing briar, you immediately have to jump aside, as Eshe, lugging a massive crate across the cargo bay, pushes past you, grunting an apology as she does. Reminds me of when we met. Eshe sniffs and doesn't look back. As you turn back to the bay, Peake pushes past too. Sorry, Sleeper, just a second. Peake rushes to catch up with Eshe. Put that down, please, Eshe. But she doesn't respond to his urging. We can't leave, not yet. Peake puts a hand on her shoulder. Please, I'm the only one here who can... The crate drops, the sound of its impact echoing around the bay like thunder. Can do what, Peake? Her eyes are burning with anger. Save this place? Are you still that naive? We are running, Peake. We are running because this thing cannot be stopped. It couldn't be stopped at XPR, our home. Why would we stay to stop it here? Because we can, Eshe. We can give these people a chance. Peake pleads with her. Like they gave the refugees a chance? Eshe shakes her head. No, Peake. This is not on us. We barely made it out of XPR. I worked for years to escape, and now you want to throw it all away? I left everything behind. My mother, my friends, to take you out of that place. She clenches her jaw. She turns and slams her hand onto the crate, breathing hard. We go. That's the end of it. Peake turns away. You feel unsure what to do, but you know now is not the time for outside arguments. This is between them. Peake crosses the bay back towards you. I'm sorry you had to see that, Sleeper. Let's talk upstairs. Peake leads you to the entry ladder, taking you up out of the bay and into the habitation level of the ship. You follow them through the tight corridors, noticing the handwritten notes, the clutter, the repairs. Signs of a home. Here, sit. Peake gestures to the broad mess table with its curved couches, and you slide in on one side. Peake sits opposite. They brush their hair out of their eyes and take a deep breath. So, how did it go? What did they say? We've been waiting all cycle. Ooh. Let's tell them about the evacuation first. Peake nods slowly as you tell them about Sol's plan to equip the Pilgrim Seed to take as many refugees as they can from the Eye. You admit you don't know how long you have before he leaves. An evacuation. Peake shakes their head. It's insane. Sol surely knows this can't work. Peake looks down. He just wants to keep running, to hold on to what he has. I can't blame him. He meets your eye. What did Helene say? Tell them about Kemp. Peake looks increasingly troubled as you tell them about the hardline counselor Kemp's sudden appearance. Damn. Then Helene's going to have problems of her own to deal with. Peake shakes their head. Looks like we won't be able to count on anything from Haven Age. They pause. What stopped Kemp from arresting her? Tell them about the guns. Peake rolls their eyes. Of course. Those are the guns Eshe managed to smuggle through to the refugees. The one she didn't tell us about. Another thing that's on us. What's on us? Eshe is standing quietly in the doorway listening. You don't know how long she's been there for. Peake looks up at her with tired eyes. Sleeper found the weapons you smuggled from XPR. Eshe freezes. She glances between you and Peake as if this might be some elaborate joke. The flotilla used them? Eshe moves out of the doorway and enters the room. What happened? Peake interrupts. Be thankful that they didn't. They used them as a threat. That's all. Good. Eshe folds her arms. You get the feeling that she knows Peake will not approve. Peake goes to speak and then decides not to take the bait. They glance at you. I'm sure you've heard enough of us arguing this cycle, Sleeper. They shoot a look at Eshe. But our introduction of those weapons into the equation are just another reason why we cannot simply run away. Eshe looks away but says nothing. She surely knows they cannot absolve themselves of responsibility here, so what is motivating her? You realize that she still might be trying to protect Peake, even from themselves. Suddenly a shrill beeping fills the room, and Peake pulls out their slate to silence it. But as they do, they freeze, their finger hovering above the screen, the beeping continuing its incessant pulse. What? Peake doesn't seem to hear you. They blink with glazed eyes at the slate. Then they let out a long exhale and tap the screen. The bleeping shuts off, leaving a ringing silence behind. Eshe frowns at Peake. Are you planning to explain? 12 cycles. Peake looks vacantly up at you both. 12 cycles until the next Flux event. They shake their head. I've been using the arrays on the Briar to look toward the center of the system to approximately where the KAN's channel should be. Just this moment they detected a signal from the inner system. Given the distance and pattern of the previous Flux events, we have 12 cycles before it reaches the eye. The silence in the room is deafening. 12 cycles. That's it. Before a second wave hits in this place. Peake interrupts your thoughts. We start now. That's the end of it. Peake stands up to face Eshe. You want to take the Briar and run, Eshe? That's on you. But I won't do it. They take a deep breath. I'll be here, Sleeper, for every cycle it takes, trying to find a solution. I'll need your help. Their eyes meet yours, and you see a wild desperation flickering there. We will find something. The sooner we have a plan, the better. If it takes us 12 cycles to fix this thing, it'll be too late. Peake's eyes flash with determination. They reach for a slate and pass it to you. So we can keep in touch. You pocket the thin, handheld terminal. And Eshe? Peake starts, but she's gone. Storming down the corridors of the ship on a path to who knows where. You know from experience that it's impossible to outrun your fears. But you get a sense that Eshe will try anyway. Peake rubs their red eyes, staring at Eshe. Maybe I'll take a moment before we start. They smile weakly, tears of exhaustion gathering in their eyes. See you back here soon, okay? As you slip from the room into the corridor, Peake's quiet sobs somehow carrying through the ship behind you as you leave. Oh dear. Evacuate the eye. Protect the eye. Peake needs a plan to protect the eye from the Shadow Protocol before the next event. help PK plan. Devise a strategy. Interface +2. Okay, that's good. I like that. So this is why we were really good at gathering all of this stuff. We've got 5 stabilizers. We've got 16 scrap components. We can throw all of our focus into getting this done. So, we've got supply hauling, berth refitting. I figure the sooner we get this part done to devise a strategy. PK is tirelessly analyzing the Flux data and testing countermeasures on the Shadow Protocol. They need your help. So, let's go ahead and use our dice here. You show the latest data to PK and their eyes light up. They've seen something, but what is it? Okay, good, we can actually get this done in one go. Terminal Flux. The next Flux event is coming and it can't be stopped. The sooner your preparations are complete, the better the outcome. Well, let's go. Start that action. PK beckons you over the wide mess table where they have set up a terminal. The hours of bleary-eyed work have left you both drained, and PK looks ready to collapse. You slide onto the curved couch beside them, something dark and malevolent filling their screen like an oil stain. The Shadow Protocol. Not quite. PK's eyes seem to glitter in the screen light. This isn't what you think, Sleeper. Not by a long shot. You look again at the screen, leaning in close to the dark curved shape to see its texture. You see whorls and currents like a river. A dark flow unlike the Shadow Protocol's dark tangle. You know exactly what this is. You've swum in this river, almost drowned in its shifting flow. It's the Gardener's Chorus, the dark cloud which blankets the Greenway's networks. The bioorganic morass of a malfunctioning protocol grown vast and strange. The Gardener. PK glances at you. How do you... Have you met them? I have. PK shakes their head. Incredible. Then perhaps you won't be surprised by what I'm about to propose. PK meets your eye. Everything I've tried to do to contain the Shadow Protocol has been a failure. It slips through any containment, absorbs any countermeasure. That, unfortunately, is an unavoidable fact. And yet, the eye still spins. The Shadow Protocol is being slowed, partially contained. It's spread across the station, as we've seen, but in reduced pockets, in fragments. So I started to look outside of our test cases. Outside of these fragments we've been poking and prodding in our little lab. PK smiles. And look what I found. PK taps a key on their terminal and you realize the screen is showing a recording of the data flow inside the eye's networks, sampled from hundreds of points around the Greenway. You watch as a subtle shift occurs at the edge of the flowing dark curve that blankets the Greenway. Something spreading like an ink stain. Somehow darker than the black it bleeds across. The Shadow Protocol. Now watch. PK eagerly points at the screen. You see something strange, a fizzing at the end of the shadow, a sparking, and then it's gone. And beneath, for a moment, a millisecond, you see into the networks of the Greenway. You're reminded of an image you had forgotten, of pulling a plant from its pot and seeing a bone-white root ball where you expected to see dark soil. The white connections writhe like worms. And then it's gone, the dark flow closing up as quickly as it opened. It dissolved the shadow. Exactly, PK nods. It protected itself. You think back to your meeting with the gardener, that sense of something old and world, and inhuman to its core. PK excitedly starts to explain. This is the only chance we have, the only countermeasure we've seen. In the moment it opened, I detected something, a centralized intelligence with the local ID Gardener. This protocol, this system, whatever it is, can protect its network from the Shadow Protocol. But if it stays in the Greenway, the Eye will still fall. The station systems are too exposed, too spread across the hub, the shipyards, the spokes. Peake glances away. The only way is to break it open, to spread the entity's network, access it, expand it somehow. You want to let the Gardener out? Peake stands up and walks away a little. They lean against the countertop, their head hanging so low that their long hair touches the work surface. You hear them breathing deeply. I don't know, Sleeper. They lift their head. I really don't know. It's a chance. Maybe. They shake their head. You know as well as Peake that this is it. You know it because over the past cycles you've run every simulation, every possibility you could think of, and still come up with nothing. You've stared a hole into your screen and dreamt of that black shadow creeping in at the edges of your vision. Peake recognizes the look in your eyes, the potent cocktail of resignation and anger. Let's say we do this. Peake begins, eyeing you carefully. What do we need? They begin to answer their own question, thinking out loud. I suppose we need to do two things. Find a way to limit or control the Gardener's spread, and then reconnect the Greenway. Peake starts pacing. The idea is coming quickly now. Controlling the spread means preparing the station. Limit the Garden's network of key systems, or 2 key systems. We don't want it taking everything, we just need it to protect the station's core functionality. Then we need to reconnect the Greenway, hook it back to the main line of the network. Those systems we prepared, they should connect, and Gardener will spread along the paths we prepared. At least, that's my theory. Peake grimaces. But if we don't prepare correctly, the Gardener might not spread, or it might spread to everything. Peake closes their eyes. And after that, things might get worse. That's the risk. Peake nods. One hell of a risk. Peake sits back at the terminal and brings up a map of the Eye. Rotational control at the hub. Life support at the Free Spoke. Power routing at the Haven Age shipyards. They stab at the map with each one, marking them in red. Then there's the central core. As I understand, it's somewhere on the rim. I'd need to find it. They push their hair out of their face. We need the Gardener in all of these places. Peake pauses, but how are we going to do that? Transplant the Greenway? Or bait the Gardener's attention? Maybe. Bait the Gardener's attention. Peake smiles. Of course. The Gardener needs plants to care for. That's what their protocol dictates. They must have been part of the farming management system of the Eye back when Solheim built it. We need Greenway plants into those systems, and the Gardener will seek them out. Protect them. Peake stares at the map of the Eye. Oh, it's a wild idea, but it could work. But they pause. We'll need a way into those systems. Haven Age have most of them locked down for safety purposes. We can't just walk in. I know a guy. Peake raises an eyebrow. Someone in the Haven Age systems team? You nod. After everything he dragged you through, you feel like Feng still owes you. Time to pay him a visit. Okay, well... Peake looks at you sideways. I guess we should pay him a visit. Lead the way. You both leave the ship, carried forward by the excitement of the plan, and an eagerness to not look at the details too closely. You push any lingering questions to the back of your mind. Time to head to Feng's Bay. Alright, I guess we're going to be focusing on the pilgrim seed here in a bit. But let's go all the way back here to where we first started this journey. Fang's Bay. Yep, here we go. Find Fang. Fang isn't in their bay, and no one in the office upstairs seems to know where they are. Your lone clue is an out to lunch note. Fang is both never where they say they'll be and always late. Well, this is no surprise. Now is not the moment for wasting time. He is a very difficult man. That is quite accurate. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and do to find Fang. Let's hope for 2 here. Big bucks, no whammies. Hey! And you know what? Let's at least get started preparing the pilgrim seed. We've got a lot of work to do. Supply hauling. Engineer. Berth refitting. Well, hold on a second. 2 for pilgrim prep. 2 for pilgrim prep. Okay. Not that it really matters with the 6 dice, but I was just kind of curious. Building berths into the vast bulkheads. You work in sync with the other team, splitting the job so that by the time you're done, there are tens of new berths in space. Oh. As you stop to rest in one of the pilgrim seeds' cavernous bays, hopping up to sit on a supply crate, you hear a now familiar voice behind you. Sleeper, glad you're here. Soul's suit hisses as he clanks up towards you. I knew you'd help us out. We sure do appreciate everything you do for us. No worries. I do mean it, Sleeper. He looks away down the bay to where sparks jump from welding torches. It's a grim job to be doing without a few friends around. Soul settles beside you, flinching a little but making himself comfortable on the crate. Seems the word got out, this way or that. He nods toward the welders a little way off, one of them wearing shipyard overalls. We've had people flowing in from the eye, looking for a place. In truth, it's more than I thought. Which means more mouths to feed, more bodies to house, more people to protect. That's good, right? Good for those that can get a place, maybe. Soul frowns. But none of this is good for anyone. We were supposed to stay here, not keep running. Soul waves away the thought. Don't listen to me. He gives you a sideways glance. Just a tired old man. He stretches. I have something to ask, though. What is it? With all these evacuees, we'll need a change of plan. He shrugs. Pilgrim Seed can't do it alone. We need the others to help out. We can carry them, house them, but that's all. Now, you settled down the folks from Ember's Step and they sent up supplies grown in those dust houses of theirs. We could get more. He nods to himself. And then the song crews. He rubs his chin. What we need from them is scouting and security. We don't need that docking access of theirs, but with some careful scavenging, they could be our fleet. These folks, they know you, Sleeper. You are in their trust already. He put a hand on your shoulder. I sent my request out, and they seem to be complying, but I need you out there making sure the work gets done. Time is our greatest enemy now. Soul stares into the distance. I need you out there speeding things up. Of course. Soul nods. All right, then. He climbs off the crate, his suit hissing as he does. Think of it this way. Either way, you won't have to deal with much longer. He smiles his uneven smile. Unless, of course, you were planning to come along for the trip. I'm staying, Soul. He nods. I understand. Soul waves a hand and starts off toward the bay's entrance, the crackling sound of the welding quickly covering up his clanking suit. You watch the workers, the shipyard contractor chatting among them, already looking like he belongs. You push the thoughts of escape, of home, and of the future to the back of your mind and get up. There's always more to do. You better head to the other ships in the flotilla to see what can be done. Oh my god, there is so much here. In 12 days? Whew. Okay, then we gotta find Fang, make sure that our body doesn't break apart. Alright, let's talk to Aki. How much? Yeah. I knew you'd come. Aki greets you outside the dust house. Her eyes are as bright as always. You are very welcome here, as always. It's good to see you. She smiles. And you, Sleeper. Aki puts a hand on your arm. Walk with me. And she guides you past the dust houses. You look inside and see other members of the crew working in the orange dust, planting and tending to the steppe ecosystem. We are to be the suppliers for the evacuees, and I'm sure you have heard, we will put the dust houses to use. She leads you past a dust house where the dust is less, the orange glow not as bright, the air a little more clean. We are adapting, slowly, but we are adapting. We have to produce food, clothes, necessary things for the journey ahead. She smiles. The plants of steppe are once again sustaining a population, and that makes me proud. Aki stops at a half-empty dust house, scoured of its sand. It's being filled with mulch. We brought this from the Greenway. She stares at the green and brown, a strange sight even to you, now that you're used to the amber dust of steppe. I admit it is hard work for us. We are not familiar with these plants. Can you help us? Aki meets your eye. I'll do my best. She looks away. Of course, I am sorry. She furrows her brow. I know the eye is suffering, that it is a risk. I know what that is like. It's okay. I wish I had a lesson to share with you from our loss on steppe. She shakes her head. But for the moment, I cannot see what that might be. She gathers herself. Well, if it gives you meaning, the work here is steady and worthwhile. But if you do not have time... She smiles a weak smile. I will not blame you. Hold on to your memories, but not too tightly. She pauses. Sadness will not sustain you. She falls silent and you both watch the work in the dust house for a while. You can already see a greening fringe of moss on the mulch in the dust house. The first signs of new life. Will you soon be like the people of steppe leaving behind a home? Or you'll be stubborn and hold your ground, despite what it might mean. You wait a little longer with Aki, the moment a welcome suspension in time. A rare moment in this rush toward an end. You glance at Aki and she puts a hand on your shoulder in solidarity. After a short while, she sighs. It is good to see you, Sleeper. Perhaps we will see each other again before we depart. She walks away, fingertips brushing against the glass of the dust house windows. Aki turns back for a moment, as if she wants to say something, and then thinks better of it, and turns away. So what do we have to do here? Good God! Alright, this can be done over the course of 12 days, but man, that's going to be tight. I'm really glad that we've got +2 on damn near everything. Alright, guys. Well, we'll need to go talk to Peter over here at the Ember Song, and we'll try and figure out what we're going to do, because good lord, it's a lot. But I hope y'all have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.